down there as a carpenter to help repair the damage that was done. There was an epidemic of sleeping sickness that went through here back in the 27, 28, something like that. It affected a lot of people. In fact, they tell me that this is one, I have Parkinson's disease, and this is partly where it came from, that sleeping sickness that went through way back then.
Did they lose many people from it, or?
Oh, not really. This, but just had after effects, I think, that people had, showed up later. And of course, polio, epidemics of polio went through, and I don't remember just year, but it was pretty bad.
Did you got it? Get it?
Oh, well, I know some of the people that got it. In fact, my daughter's husband had polio, and he's got some physical disabilities, not disabilities, but some things that showed up. I think several people still around. The man that runs the filling station there in Henryville, he's got one arm and a leg that's affected pretty bad from it.
But all that I know.
I have two children. I didn't mention that. Now Virginia Sue Law now, and Mike Bagshaw, he lives in Cleveland, and Sue lives in Henryville, and they have one grandson, Joseph Law.
Okay, I think I have one more question. The sleepy disease, what is it?
It's called
Sleepy What kind of symptoms was it? I mean, what?
Well, I don't remember a whole lot about it. I just know that it was. I think it's carried mostly by mosquitoes, so I think it was at that time. I think it said.
Why was it a problem?
Well, it's just like me. It has a lot of effects later on. It affects your nervous system. And let's see, if you got Parkinson's, you shake a lot, say, and you get tired awful easy, and sometimes your speech is kind of hesitant when you're talking, and it affects your nervous system mostly.
Okay, I guess we're ready for our next victim. We're going to make copies of this so I can see your interview. What is your name?
Zollman.
Your full name?
Leslie Zollman.
Okay, where were you born?
Henryville, Indiana.
Okay. What year?
1927.
Okay. On what date?
8th day of May.
8th day of May. All right.
On Mother Day.
Who were your parents?
Mom and Dad.
That's not what I meant. What were their names?
Boy, Leslie Zollman, and Vista Elda Zollman.
What was her maiden name?
Thompson.
That's right. I asked it before. That's right. Okay. And you had lots of brothers and sisters, correct?
Right.
We already know all their names because they told us before. If they lied, well, tell us them anyway. Okay, what were their names?
What was the name?
Huh?
My brother had a brother that I didn't have.
How?
Huh?
Okay. Name all your brothers and sisters.
They'd be different.
Why?
Cause.
Why?
Of course, he didn't have the same brothers and sisters as I am.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. He had one I didn't have, and I had one he didn't have.
How's that?
Of course, I was his brother, and he was my brother.
Okay. Woman.
So your name's gonna be the same.
Okay, well, let's see all the names that you know.
Okay, Russell,
Mm-hmm.
Forrest,
Mm-hmm.
George,
Mm-hmm.
Whipper,
Mm-hmm.
and Donnie.
And Donnie. No sisters?
Well, she ain't asked that yet.
I'm about to ask. Who's sisters?
Okay, Hannah, Mary, Jeremy, and Ines.
Okay. Now, how many children is that?
How many is that? I don't know.
10.
10? Okay.
Okay. What kind of house did you live in?
I think that was only 9, wasn't it?
Plus you.
What kind of house? Where? When?
When you were born.
Oh, when I was born? A frame house.
The farmhouse?
Farmhouse. Frame house. Big house.
Were you the one that sat on a farm?
No, this was the two-story, wasn't
The
it?
two-story house?
I think so.
So the farmhouse, when it burnt, what year was it?
Oh, then we moved to Lexington first.
Right, okay, all right.
And live in a great big house up there. 2-story house. Big one. When we moved up there when I was about 6 months old, and live up there till I was 9 years old. Then we moved back to Henryville, to a different house this time in Henryville. And that was in 1936, I believe. Then a house burnt in 1941.
Well, it's rumored that you were the one who started the blaze. Is that
No,
true?
we were all at that church revival, and they come in and told Mom and Dad the house was burning, and they went, and we was kids were at church.
We heard somewhere that you left the heater too close to the curtains.
No,
Or did
No.
not scare you, Howard?
No.
We'll edit this out.
no.
Okay.
I think you're talking about. I think you're talking about Uncle David and Betty. They think maybe they left Van Heedle when the mobile home burned. They thought maybe Heedle set it on fire, but no, we don't know what set our house on fire.
Did the whole entire thing burn or just part of it?
It burnt all of it.
And so where did you go to live then?
Well, we lived with our friends for a while. Then Dad fixed his chicken house up, and we moved in the chicken house and lived till we got the new house built.
And how long was that between? How long did you live in the chicken house?
Oh, I'd say 4 or 5 months.
Did you have a nickname?
Bud,
Bud?
yeah,
Why Bud?
I don't know.
Did you have chores when you were a child growing up? And what kind of chores were they?
Well, when I was growing up, my first chore after I got a little bigger, I'd go by this old lady lived on the way home from her, and I'd hop by her house and get a wood and coal in the winter time, so she wouldn't have to get out in the cold. Then I go home, and then I have, my underwear, wherefore, the 3 older ones, they was about gone when I got big enough to work very much. But me and Whipper would have to my underbrow. Then Donnie, he was a whole lot under, so he wasn't big enough to help.
What kind of chores?
We would have to feed the hogs,
Hogs?
and milk the cows, and feed the horses. Then in the springtime, we come home and I would harness up 3 or 4 horses and go out and pry for corn. We always pried in February on March, because we did it with horses and we couldn't do it very fast. But then we have to milk the cows. That we had about 8 or 10 most of the time. And sometimes Dad might have 6, and sometimes he might have 13 or 14. We didn't have a whole lot, but that was a good number back in. Because you did it by hand back in. You didn't have the milking machine. Then we have to take it up to your separator house and put it in a separator and turn a big handle and turn it so the wing would go to your top and come out, and 2 two things, milk come out of one and the wing was high and it come out of the other one. It was lighter and you could throw it high on the other. When you turn that handle, you separate it, your wing from your milk. Then Dad would sell your wing to buy groceries with. And then the other we would feed to your hogs and the chickens.
Is that where most of your financial money came from, was cream?
Yeah, from wing. That wool, that's mostly. Then Dad sold some hogs and some calves. But most of his regular check, week after week would come from his cream we sell every week.
And what kind of crops did you grow?
Hay and corn, soybeans.
Something? Did you work on the railroad?
Well, before I went to work on the railroad, I went over on the knobs over by Borden. Me and my brother and some my cousin. Then my two sisters and my other cousin, a girl cousin, went over, and two or three more from Henderville went over to pick berries. And they prayed up on the hill as a man and a woman, and us three boys prayed down the hill, and the house was a man that lived by himself. And we had beans for breakfast, beans for dinner, and beans for supper.
Did you have any amusing stories with your family?
And Clifford and my cousin, they came home in about a week. They got tired of eating beans. But I was making money, so I just kept working and eating beans.
Did you have any amusing stories with your family or your children?
I had some bad sisters.
With your children or your wife or any generations? Did you have any
Because my two sisters, I took and shook one out of a tree, and well, what happened, her rope got, jump rope up in the maple tree, and she was going up and get it, so I just shook a limb, so I shake it out for her, and she come down too.
Did you have
broke her arm.
Did you have any? Which sister was this? Did you have any amusing stories with your children?
No, I doubt it. What? Yeah.
Anything in particular you're thinking about?
Oh,
About any animals?
any animals?
Yeah, any amusing stories with any of your children? That happened?
They always bad.
Did something in particular happen to one child?
You mean when the chicken got after her?
Yeah.
No. And the chicken got into a fight, and the chicken come out ahead.
When you were young, did your father ever have to punish you to make you do the chores?
No, it was just natural.
So did you get up, at 10 o'clock in the morning?
10 in the morning. We'd get up about, I don't know, we get up about 6 most of the time in the winter, and do some work. Now, we didn't do as much work in the morning as we did at nighttime, because Dad would finish it up. Then about 8 o'clock, we'd be ready to go through, and we'd have to walk. We walked about a half a mile through the field.
Did you have any favorite toys?
And then when I was 16, I began working on the railroad in the summertime. And it was hot out there on the railroad. Then I worked out there for a while. Then we played basketball too when I was in high school. Me and my brother played. Russ played when he played for Lexington, because he's 10 years older than I was. So he played when we lived at Lexington, and I played when at Henderville.
How many games did you lose?
How many games did we lose?
Yeah.
Well, when I was freshman, I played on the second team. And I don't remember actually how many games we won, most of it, but I don't really remember. Then I subbed on the first team. Then when I was a sophomore, I played on the first team, center. And we didn't lose any till we got in the section, and Jeff beat us daddy, I believe it was. Then when I was a junior, we didn't lose no game till we got in the section tournament again, and New Albany beat us daddy, I believe it was. Jeff beat us 1 year, New Albany beat us the next year. Then when I was a senior, four of the main team graduated the year before, so we lost 4 or 5 games the next year. But as a first team player for 3 years, we never did lose a home game.
Okay. How many people were in your graduating class?
Well, in my class, I graduated somewhere in the top 12. Because there's only 12 of us.
Did you, were you in the war, the military? Were you in the military?
No, I never did go. I was 18 when, let's see, who should win the first, Germany or Japan?
Japan is the one that attacked us.
Yeah, but I say who?
Germany would have already been in it over in England, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it was just about over with when I become 18. One of these,
45.
huh?
It was over in 45.
Yeah, and see, I was 18 in 45. And I never did go.
How did you meet your wife and where did you meet your wife?
Do you want that? Okay. And my sister, Ungna, and I was getting married to Paul Olson, and my wife sung at the wedding. So after your wedding, yeah, I met her at the wedding, and after your wedding, we come up to Paul Olson's house, and she chased me till she caught me. No, I just joking out. My brother asked me if he could borrow my car to take her home, and I said, no, it's my car, I'm taking her home. So I took her home that day, and then we just kept seeing each other. We went together a long time before we got married. I met her in June. We waited to December to get married.
Did you have any kids?
And 4.
And their names?
David Lasser, Kathy Ann, Ida Aaron, and Carrie Marie. Then I got a bunch of grandkids.
13.
Don't ask me name all of them now. I got 15 grandkids and 3 great grandkids.
No.
Did you have any favorite toys when you were a child? Did you have any toys that you played with? Play cards?
Basketball.
Okay.
That was about all. Then we played cards. Every Sunday evening, different ones would come in and we played World. But that's about the only game I really remember playing is World.
What kind of Christmas presents would you get?
Well, a lot of times for Christmas present, we would get
Sticks and coal.
red handkerchief and socks. Then sometimes we just get a note and say that we was going to get a new pair of shoes. They'd be later because he didn't have his pennies out or something. And a week or 2 later, we'd get a pair of new shoes.
Is this from
Yeah.
Santa Claus? Did they have
Yeah.
Santa Claus back then?
Yeah, this was from Santa. And
Apple and an orange.
then we get peanuts and apples and oranges.
Did you have any candy bars back then?
Anyway,
Candy bars that you got for Christmas?
we didn't get a whole lot of candy bars. Mom make homemade candy better than the bought candy. She make peanut butter fudge and chocolate fudge and all kind of candy. It was better than the kind you could buy. Then me and my brother, Dad had some chickens, and me and my brother Wherefore, there's a few of it lay eggs at the barn. And Dad told us we could have all your eggs at the barn, so we saved it up. And we'd take it down on Saturday night and sell it. And we would have enough to buy us 4 or 5 bananas. We usually ate bananas on Saturday night.
Is it true that you picked on your younger brother Clifford?
Do I have to answer?
Yes.
Yeah, I had to keep in line.
Or flashlight?
Huh?
Had to keep him in line with you, bad
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
In what way did you pick on him?
Well, there was a girl around town he didn't like.
What was her name?
Val.
Val?
Val. And when we walk home in Hoo, he was a whole lot little than me when we was in Hoo until we got in higher Hoo, and then he almost caught up with me, but never did. But when we was in the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, maybe 9th grade, when he was a whole lot littler than I was. And I'd take hold of him, cast it, and hoy over your bank to your pond, to a creek. And Terry, if he didn't say, "I love you, Val," I'd drop in the water. So he would. He would say it, and then I let it up. Then I could take and Dad had a lot of corns and fed the chickens, so we had a lot of corn cobs around. And I'd tease him, he'd get mad at me, he'd go throwing cobs at me. And then I'd say, "Whipper loved Val," and he'd get so mad in he couldn't even hit me. He'd miss me when he threw at me, he'd get mad.
Did you have any pets that were favorites of yours? Did you have any pets? Cats, dogs, horses, pigs?
Well, each one of those kids have a cow that we trained. Sophie was mine. And his was Pete's, I believe. And I don't know the rest of it, but each kid, then after we got older, Dad would let us sell your calf at 2 months old, which was bringing $10, $15, and that was all money. And then one time, when I was a senior and Whipper was a sophomore, we was gonna play. We were playing basketball, and then he and his girlfriend, I think it was, I think that's right, woke up, so he got a little tight. That's the only time I know he got tight. So he come home at Enid, and I think the ball game was the next night. And I took him, he carried 2 sacks of feed at a time, and I whooped it out of him. And I don't know what, I make it do this different thing, make it do most of his work that night, and I was the boss. And the next night we played Charleston, and I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have worked it out of it, because I was high point man every game up to that was our last game. And that night he was the high point man. So I shouldn't have done it. See, I could have been a high point man the whole year.
Were there any epidemics or tornadoes or floods that influenced your life?
Oh, I don't think it influenced my life. We had a tornado when I was living at home. Went right through your cornfield I just got out of. But
Did you see it coming, or how did you know that it was coming? Or did you? Where'd you go to hide?
Where I go to hide?
Yeah, from the tornado.
Well, I got off a dog, so I just unhitched the horses, mused, and took it to your barn. And Dad and Whipper was milking the cows, and Dad took the horses and told me to take Donnie, he was little, and take it to your house. So I went to your house, took Donnie to your house, and they ran in the barn door and washed it to go through Henryville. And they said they saw tin and everything. But I got to your house, so I didn't see much of it. But he told me to take Donnie and get to your house, so when Dad say something, you just did it.
Killed the Mullins girl.
Huh?
Killed the Mullins girl, didn't he?
Kill one girl in town.
How did it kill?
Tore the house down.
Rode the house down, and some timber fell on her.
Did anybody get seriously damaged or hurt?
Not serious, I don't think. Several people got hurt.
What was your school like when you were over in Henryville? Anything different about it? Or?
No,
Was it like one room schoolhouse or?
no, it was a big, it was pretty good sized schoolhouse.
Did they have inside bathrooms or outside?
Well, we had inside, but we didn't have enough water. We have usually outside most of the time. And then when I was in, we played softball at recess at noon. And when I was in the 6th and 7th grade, I believe, we had a ball diamond, this little piece from the girls' restroom. And they had a restroom, then they had a board fence around it, outdoor. And they had a fence around it, a tall wooden fence. And me and Keith Monk, we bat most of the time because we could hit the ball harder. And we could hit that ball and knock it right over that fence, right in the restrooms. Then by the time the girls would give the ball back to your boys, we would make a home run. Then when we got bigger, we would play on the big ball diamond. And Highway 31, we went by it. And me and Keith Monk would knock the ball across Highway 31. Then by the time the boys would look both ways and get the ball and get back, we'd be in home again.
What kind of car was your first car?
Brand new 1949.
Ford.
Ford. That's how I got my wife.
And how much did you pay for it? Any idea?
17, let's see, 17, no, that's it.
1,700.
$1,749 or something, I think, or $1,800, less than $2,000.
Brand new.
Brand new. And I was kind of afraid to drive at home because I was afraid I'd dent the fender. So I believe I asked my brother-in-law, Herb, didn't I, to drive at home?
I think that takes care of all of our questions. I think we're ready for Pat now.
Okay.
Thank you for the interview.
Your name, please.
I don't remember now.
Full name?
Sure.
Patricia
You
and
went west
Kelly
when you were over
Zollman.
home. Yeah.
And your age? 60? Okay. Does that check out 60 years old?
Sounds pretty good.
Oh, I should have told you my wife fibbed to me when we got married.
Why?
She said she was 18, she was only 16.
And he
Is
knew
that
it.
true?
He knew it.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, all right. And your parents' name?
Charles Lonsford and Iva Ann Kelly
Okay, and they were born?
in Scott County, this county,
And where were you born?
this county.
Okay.
Right down the road here, about 2 miles down the road at my grandma's house.
Don't you lie about me either. Close that door. Biggie, close
Do
the door.
you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have 4 brothers.
And what are their names?
Charles Eugene, George Robert, Willard Norris, and Wilbur Ernie.
What kind of house were you born in? Were you born in a hospital or a house?
And a house, in my grandma's house,
Okay.
out here in the country.
Okay. What school did you go to?
Scottsburg, went to elementary, and then went to just a high school in town.
And how many people were graduating with you?
51 graduated.
That's quite a few. Considering your husband only had.
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
Scottsburg.
We asked that. What did you do for fun when you were a little girl?
Played and fought with my brothers.
Played what? Played what?
Well, let's see. We shot a lot of rifles, and we rode horses. We played fox and geese in the wintertime when the snow was on. We had a lot of snow back then. And I lived here when I was a little girl. Grew up here in a house, in an old house out in front of this log cabin. And then we played dolls. I had a cousin who lived right down the road here, just down over the hill. And she would come up, and she had a lot of hoity-toity fancy clothes. And she'd bring them up, and we'd play house, and if she wouldn't let me wear the dress I wanted, then I'd chase her home with the ball bat.
What kind of chores did you do?
Very few. Actually, I washed dishes, and every Saturday morning, we had, one of the rooms was called the parlor. And no one was allowed in the parlor unless you'd had a bath and were dressed up and cleaned up. And I always dusted that, took all of the furniture out of that room every Saturday morning, dusted, waxed around the carpet, swept it, and put all the furniture back.
Okay. Who was the oldest brother, and where did you fall in the line there?
All right, my oldest brother is Gene, Charles Gene. He owns a farm equipment place just out of Scottsburg on 56. And then my brother George Robert lives in El Paso, retired from Houston Space Control. And my brother Willard Norris lives at Rockford, Illinois. He's minister of Central Christian Church. And then I'm next. And then my little brother Wilbur has a pleasure boat in Florida.
You say you played fox and geese? How did you play that game?
Well, you tramped down the snow in a great big circle, and then you would put a cross, tramp down the snow halfway between the circle and then the other half, quartered it off, and then the fox chased the geese. As the fox caught the geese, then you were out of the game. So you had to run around this huge circle.
Do you have any nicknames?
Girly.
Did you have any pets growing up?
Yes, I did. I had my riding horse, Penny, and I had my cat, Tom Tom.
Did you ever play any tricks on your parents?
No, because they would have beat me to death. My brother and I one time we had a place underneath the porch, and we were stacking up matches, putting matches around in a circle and making different designs, and then we would light one and so that they'd all catch fire. And my dad happened to come along and see us under the porch doing this, and so we didn't, needless to say, we didn't eat supper that night. We weren't able to sit down.
Okay.
Matter of fact, it's a couple of days before I sat down again. But we didn't ever do that again.
How did they make their financial money? Support the family.
Mother and Daddy?
Yes.
Okay, Mother was a homemaker, and Daddy worked for Interstate Trucking until it moved, the freight house moved to Indianapolis. And when it moved to Indianapolis, then he was in the mechanics department of Morgan's packing company for the rest of his, until he retired.
Okay. How did you meet your husband?
I met him at my cousin and his sister's wedding. I sang at the wedding.
Does that corroborate with what Howard said?
June the 12th.
Okay, just checking it out here. Okay. Let's see. Do you have any amusing stories from childhood you can share?
Well, it wasn't very amusing for me, but it was for my brothers. I was always tagging around after them and always wanted to go wherever they went, and they was sick and tired of me, following them around, so they invited me up to the barn loft, and so I thought, oh boy, I get to go and I get to have fun, and I get to see what all they're doing, in their clubhouse. They got me up in the barn loft and shoved me out, knocked the breath out of me.
So they were in essence trying to kill you. Did you ever get an allowance?
Never.
Did you ever play musical instruments?
Yeah. I took piano for 7 years and took voice for 2 years. I played the piano, played the organ, I played the zither, played the accordion. I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's good. Did you ever collect anything?
Yes,
A collection?
yes. I collect, let's see, I collect grandkids. And I collect,
They come to you.
I collect cups and iron skillets, cookbooks, old memorabilia.
Did you ever play cards when you were young?
Yes. The only thing we were allowed to play, the only kind of cards we were allowed to play, they came on the back of the Wheaties box. And they were individual cards, and they were called authors. And you cut them out, and then you played cards with those, matching up the authors. And that was the only card game we could play, because that was wicked.
Okay. Let's see. What stories do you remember from the Zollman family? Any amusing times since you have married into it?
A lot of good fun times, just when everybody gets together. I'll just right offhand, let's see, I can't think of, other than, no, we just have good times when we all get together.
Okay. All right. Did you ever have your first car? Did you ever own a car?
No.
Never
did.
Horse and buggy?
No, never did.
How'd you get around?
I owned a horse.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
in
Did
my
you
life.
ride your horse to school?
No, rode to church once in a while. And then I beat one of the boys in the neighborhood. He had a great big stallion, and he was going to race me, and I took him up on it, and I beat him.
Is there anything that you ever wanted to be when you were growing up?
A nurse.
You wanted to be a nurse. And you fulfilled that, didn't you? Okay. Did you have homework in school?
Yes, loads.
What was your favorite subject?
My
Except
favorite?
recess.
History.
Allowance? Did you ever get an allowance?
Never.
So how did you get your money for clothes?
Mother bought my clothes until I got married. I never decided what clothes I was going to wear. My mother picked. She always sent off in a Sears catalog. My auntie lived with us. My Aunt Ida Riggle lived with us after her husband was killed at Speed in an accident. And
What kind of accident?
he was the electrician down at the Speed cement mill. And he climbed up in one of the big round cement things and touched a live wire, and it killed him, electrocuted him. But she lived with us always, and she bought things for me. And then every year, Daddy would always take me in to Gladstein's store, which is a clothing store, and took me in there and at Christmas time and told me to buy what I wanted to buy. And I got to buy one outfit every year because Daddy always took me in with him. But he usually bought...
Did your dad do the shopping then?
No, Daddy bought the fun things. Daddy did shop. He bought like doctor kits and nursing kits and games and all of these fun things. And bicycles. He bought us bicycles. And Mother bought the underwear and the dresses and the socks and everything, the necessities Mama did. She never bought those.
So what was the price of groceries back then? Or candy or...
Okay,
What kind of groceries would you
stamp
buy?
was a penny. You could buy a whole bag of candy for a nickel.
What was your favorite?
Horlicks balls, or they were tablets. That's what they were. They were made out of malted milk. We'd go into the drugstore and get them. Mother would give us a quarter on Saturday evening. We'd go in on Saturday afternoon to Scottsburg, and she would go to see the doctor, and she'd sit in there till about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. We'd leave about 2:30 in the afternoon, and she'd sit in there till about 9 or 10 at night, get out of the doctor's office, go over to the grocery store, and get groceries. Well, in the meantime, we all had all that time free. So when I was a little girl, I would go to the show. I went to the picture on 25 cents. I went to the picture show, a 2-hour Western, and then I would go over to Dorsey's drugstore and get a soda, and then I would buy a hit parade book, a music book, or buy sheet music, and I'd get all that for a quarter.
Sounds great to me.
Yeah.
When
And
is
then
your
sometimes
birthday?
I'd come home with licorice, too. I love licorice.
Do you
When
know
is your-
any home remedies? You know, housewives' pills.
Oh, well, you know, like the soda on bee stings, or the bacon fat on bee stings, and things like that.
When is your birthday?
June the 14th, 33.
Do you remember any floods, epidemics, tornadoes? They have
Tornado, the one that went through that Howard talked about.
What year was
Was it 47? Maybe 46 or 47, I believe, is when it went through Henryville. And we sat downstairs on a day bed against a wall, and it just got black as black could be. And we just sat there, and the house just shook terribly. But we just sat real quiet, and it went away. Tore down the chicken house and all that, but not our house.
Where do your kids live?
I have a child that lives at Kathy, that lives at Kendallville, Indiana. She's manager of Arden Benhart Corporation. And we have a son, David, that lives at Charlestown, and he's a skilled intensive coronary care nurse at Floyd County. And I have a daughter, Ida, that is a homemaker and a teacher that lives at Scottsburg. And I have a daughter, Kelly, that is a private secretary, and she lives in Henryville.
Do you have any kids that work, or grandkids that work?
Yeah, several of them do.
Your first job. What was your first job?
My first
Have you ever held a job?
Yeah. I worked at Wimpy's truck stop for about 4 months as a waitress.
And how much did it pay?
It paid $1.25 an hour.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
And do you have any remembrances you'd like to pass on along that? Did you really enjoy the job?
Well, yeah, I did. One time a trucker came in, and he said he wanted some bacon and cackleberries. And I kind of laughed at him, and I said, or a cup of coffee and cackleberries, serving at cackleberries. And I said, I can get you the cup of coffee, but I don't think we got any cackleberries. And I thought he meant just cockleberries. And so he kept sitting there, and he said, you're not going to give me my cackleberries. And I said, no, we don't have any. And he said, well, I'll go then on up the road to a truck stop up there and get them. And I went back and asked the head cook later on. I said, this dumb guy out in front wanted cackleberries for breakfast, and I told him we didn't have any. And she said, you mean you don't know what cackleberries are? And I said, no. And she said they're eggs. So he wanted eggs, an order of eggs.
Do you have any favorite sayings or favorite views? What do you feel strongly about?
Children being taught correctly. Parents staying at home and teaching their children.
Do you have any favorite songs?
I think my most favorite is The Holy City. But I like all music. All but rock and roll.
Do you go to camp?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else you want to say in the interview? Any old-time stuff that you'd like to share about the olden days growing up?
Well, not actually. I was not allowed to be out. My brothers were allowed to go wherever they wanted to, but I was never allowed to because I was a girl, and I had to stay strictly with my mother. My mother was raised that the girls stay strictly with their mothers or their aunts, and that's where I did. I never went to town without mother or my aunt, never went to church or anything without mother or my aunt, and that's where we had most of our activities were at church. Most of the time, we had a lot of youth meetings. We had a lot of, social.
Barn dances? Did you ever go into barn
Never
dances?
did go to a barn dance. Mother thought they were terribly evil, wicked. So I never was allowed to go. So I never square danced until after Howard and I was married. We first married, and Howard's brother Clifford and my sister-in-law Mary, we all went to a square dance. And I don't think any of us knew how to square dance. But we had a good time.
Do you have any remaining relatives?
On my side of the family, yeah, I have one aunt by marriage.
I think that'll do it.
Thank you.
No, thank you. We'll be doing this.
So, Goldar, how does it feel to be outsmarted by a human being? G13.